The thing I wanted to talk to you about today, and let's just dive straight in, is about escaping a toxic relationship. So I know from my own experiences when I was in my marriage that the friends that I would indicate that there were problems to, and they didn't know in sort of great detail what was going on, their attitude was always like, just leave him. Just leave him. And I see it on other posts and other pages and things like that where people are talking about difficult relationships they're in. And it's not really that straightforward and simple. It would be lovely if it was. And obviously there is a lot of support available if people leave relationships, particularly in the UK. I know if you're watching in America that that's not always the same. It's a bit of a postcode lottery sometimes. And there is support out there. And obviously violent relationships and what have you, you know, yes, as soon as you are in a position that you can get out, that is great. But I know that sort of the main advice that people would give is just leave. And, you know, for me, I felt that it wasn't that simple. So what I wanted to do today was just take a moment just to come on here and tell you about my own experience and just say to you that it's okay if you are in a toxic relationship and you do not feel ready to leave, that you do not feel that you're able to leave, and what have you. It's absolutely fine for that to be the situation. So when I was thinking that actually I wanted the marriage to be over and I wanted to move on and you know, take our son and what have you and set up somewhere new, it was definitely a whole thought process about how I was going to do that. So the first thing that I needed to do was make sure that financially I'd be okay. So we owed money to credit cards, not phenomenal amounts and loans and what have you. And I knew that the ones that were in my name, as well as paying for rent on a different flat and all this kind of thing, I simply wasn't going to be able to cope financially month on month. So what I did was any money that we had left over, because generally I was sort of in charge of looking after the finances, I then put that into paying off those debts so that we didn't have those monthly outgoings anymore, and it was going to make it easier for me when we left, that actually I could then financially cope each month. But I think the biggest thing for me about the reason that I didn't leave is that I knew that I was quite fragile, and I knew that if I left, potentially he could convince me to go back. Potentially I was still in that place where I'd be like, no, we need to keep the family together, and all the usual sort of partially societal things that we kind of think, you know, it's better for the children. Actually it's bloody not, and I'll get onto that another day. But in terms of the being ready to leave, it was very much around I didn't feel that I was in a position where I was strong enough to be able to do this on my own just yet. I didn't feel that I was in a position that actually I could not come back. And I knew that if I did go back, the reality would be we would probably have another baby. So I'd then have 2 children. It was, I think it's probably more difficult to leave if you've already been back once, because then I think it potentially sets a bit of a precedent that you're always going to be able to go back and what have you. And I just didn't want that to be the case. So for all the people out there who are in a toxic relationship now, who want to leave that toxic relationship, I would suggest that actually you make a plan. You work out what are the reasons that I'm not leaving at the moment, you know. It is scary. The one thing I would say is I was really scared about being a single mum, and actually that was just nonsense in the end because it was easier. I didn't have somebody that I was having these expectations and resentments towards, so actually it freed my brain up a lot more. And also, you know, the situation that happened meant that I did actually get some time out every so often. So, you know, there's lots of elements to think about. But if you're in a toxic relationship, you're wanting to leave that toxic relationship, the first things that you need to do are really explore the reasons why you haven't done it already. So is it a financial thing? Is it where would I go? Is it trying to put a network together? Is it that you need to get support from a charity, for example, to think about leaving? You know, there might be very many different elements about why you're not ready to leave that toxic relationship. So the first step is take your journal and start working out what are the reasons that I need to stay. And then after that, you can start to make a plan of action points that you want to do. This is something that I do help with clients on a one-to-one basis. So if you would like to book a call and have a chat with me about potentially working together to work through the difficulties, then by all means do. In the meantime, get journaling, work out what are those things and what are the steps that I could take to make a change to that. And I will see you again next week for another topic, which I am trying really hard now on a Sunday to put up what I'll be doing in terms of a live, when and what time. And I will try and make it so that it's at roughly the same time each week, if that kind of fits in with clients and diary and what have you. But it's lovely to come on and chat to you guys. I hope you're all okay. Lots of love to you, and I'll speak to you again next week. Take care.